Most Christmas tree growers know to scout for twig aphids that cause needle curl in the spring by beating foliage over a plate and looking for aphids. But I'd like to give you a few extra tips on how to do a better job. The first tip is, did you know that you could have been scouting for twig aphids months before? And that's by looking at the twig aphid eggs instead of the aphids. You can find the eggs anytime from July when they're first laid until March when they start to hatch. We have a video online on how to do that. But by scouting for the eggs, you can identify those fields that have a lot of eggs in them. That means that there's going to be a lot of aphids developing, and you can prioritize those fields before things get too busy. The second tip is to scout on warm, sunny days. That's because if it's been cold or wet, the aphids move back into the canopy of the tree and you're not going to find them. You also don't want to scout when it's too windy because the wind will just blow all the bugs that you just beat out and you're not going to get a chance to look at them. You want to use a hand lens to look at the aphids because those that first hatch out or first laying are very small and you'll miss them if you don't use that magnification to help you. The first aphids that hatch from the eggs are called stem mothers, and just like any mother, they have a lot of babies. So on an early spring day like this, if you go out and scout, maybe looking at 10 or 15 trees, which is what we recommend, and only find a couple of aphids, you think, well, there's not much of a problem. But if you came back even a couple of weeks later, you might find dozens in the same field. So it's important to remember that those numbers are going to keep going up until bud break. This field doesn't have any cones in them, but in fields that do have cones, those cones emerge a couple of weeks before the shoots do, and the twig aphids really like to feed in them. So you can pull the cones off of the tree, look under the bracts to find them there. You'll also want to take note of any predators that you find. Lady beetle adults, larvae, lacewing larvae, and especially hoverfly larvae eat a lot of aphids. And so if you find them when scouting, you might not need to use a pesticide at all. Aphids aren't the only things that are becoming active in the spring. Mites do too. Beating foliage like this isn't a good way to find mites. So while doing twig aphid scouting, I also like to pull a few shoots off of the tree, the small interior shoots, look at them front and back for mites. And that way you can find if you need to treat for both pests and maybe switch what material you use. And because you're looking at so many things, it's a good idea to take something along to write all this information down on. Anyway, I hope this helps you with your twig aphid scouting. For more information about twig aphid control and the control of other pests, see the NC State University Christmas Tree Portal.